some live packing. Normally we do this on our Facebook channel or Facebook page, but I thought for a change we would do it on YouTube because I know not everyone uses social media. You're so very lucky if you don't need to. Sadly, I am forced into using it. But in all honesty, we do have a private Facebook group, so it's called Club Privé. Not as ostentatious as it sounds. It's just simply a safe space. The biggest thing for us, for our group, is it's existing customers only. So, I do apologise anyone that tries to apply for membership and they do get declined because they don't have an order number or products that they have purchased. But it's just to keep the environment safe. That's all it is. It's just to make sure that everyone that's in the group, for instance, they're all customers. So we're all signing off the same hymn sheet. So Kevin, you might have noticed Kevin's name in the previous packing video. So Kevin has purchased RIM version 3. So you might be asking, what's the difference between RIM version 2 and RIM version 3? So RIM version 3 is an alkaline-based alloy wheel cleaner. Don't run away yet, it's okay. Some alkaline products are better suited. So obviously, you can't use this type of product on bare aluminium, but it's absolutely fine for your standard powder coat wheels. The other area that I would tread carefully with, both acidic, because we do offer an acidic wheel cleaner by request. The other area that would tread carefully with is your diamond cut, or would be your diamond cut wheels, just simply because they will spider. Diamond cut wheels are exceptionally sensitive to cleaners, especially road salts and stuff like that. Also chrome alloy wheels as well. Don't so much get them anymore, but it's worth mentioning. So this is full concentrate. This bottle here, it's a half litre. So concentration, it does say 4:1 for a weekly wash, but you could go all the way up to 10:1, depending on how clean your alloys are. And you don't have to use this every week as well, because it is quite a heavy duty cleaner, but it's a must have. It's something that's the cleaning ability of this is very good. So RIM V2 was pH neutral. The issue with RIM V2, it was very much relying on agitation, whereas this has the cleaning power and then the agitation, so you will essentially get a cleaner wheel faster with this. And obviously most of us were well versed with detailing, so just don't spray it on full strength because it will damage your wheels. It is designed to be used diluted, so that's what to do. Other thing, guys, when you dilute this, make sure it goes into an HDPE bottle. If it goes into your normal plastic bottle, it'll eventually just burn through the bottom. So again, it's just testament to the quality of the products that we offer here at Michelin King. Next up, we've got Armour. So Armour's a very, very simple product, but it's really, really popular. So it's just simply a high temperature sealant. We had a chap yesterday, he had asked if you can use it on the exhaust tips, which you certainly can. Obviously, your exhaust tips will get significantly hotter over the period of time than your alloy wheels, unless you've got a wheel bearing issue or something like that. This was mainly designed so that the brake dust, when it impacts your wheel, it doesn't burn through. So just bear that in mind if you're using a Carnauba base wax. Obviously, that's our specialty here. Carnauba wax melts at about 70 degrees, and your brake dust will be roughly about 4 times that. So your brake dust is in between maybe 250 and upwards, just even on your daily drivers. It's quite staggering. I was really surprised when I first Googled that, Dr. Google, to find that out, because I thought it would be much cooler. I don't know why. So high temperature wheel sealant, it'll keep your alloys cleaner for longer. Plus, the big thing is it'll make them easier to clean. If you've got Armour, you don't really need to use as high a dilution ratio, so you could try 10:1. You could try 15 to 1, 20 to 1. So just keep on going down until it's the weakest solution that does the job, because that's what we want to do. Plus it conserves the product. It means you get more value from the bottle. So next up we've got Quick Detailer. Self-explanatory product, but much better. It's a very, as I was going to get into the details of it, it's an exceptionally good product in terms of the application. I've not yet found a Quick Detailer that's as easy to use as this. Doesn't streak, doesn't leave patches. If you are experiencing, so just a wee heads up here, this specifically really happens on black or darker coloured cars like navy blue. You sometimes can get struck with just patchiness. That's typically to do with early onset oxidization. Oh, thank you very much. That's very kind. Good to hear it on a Friday afternoon as well. So thanks for that. So if you are experiencing some patchiness on your paint, if you're using, Quick Detailers, even sometimes when you wash the car, there are some shampoos that have SiO2 in there now, or Carnauba wax, and you might experience this patchiness on your paint. That's typically down to two things. The thing I've discovered that's the most frequent is a slight amount of oxidization. Not so much that you can see it when the car's dry, but the paint started to oxidize in certain patches. What's happening is that oxidized paint's very dry and it's sucking in. You really notice this when you're applying sealants and waxes, because that particular area can be slightly stubborn. So get yourself a bottle of this. This is pure. This is our pre-wax cleaner, or just simply a paint cleaner. It's got a slight amount of abrasives in there. And if you can, big advocate of cordless tools, because as long as they're powerful enough, they'll do the job. Plus it means you've not got the big trailing wire and the extension cable and whatever. Get some of this, a polishing pad, and apply it via machine ideally, and just buff the surface. That will lift and smooth out the paintwork. It's not an aggressive product, so you can use this on the softer Honda, Lexus, Toyota, Subaru type paintwork. Some people actually use this to correct the very soft Honda paint that you used to get in the mid 2000s. Another car is the Toyota Corolla, probably a wee bit as well. The Versys, or what's the 5-door one? It's the Corolla. I can't remember it now. Anyway, this is very good for soft paint as well. On hard paint, it'll do just as good a job. On the hard paint, it will mainly clean, whereas with the softer paint, it will do some correction work as well, just because micro abrasives, so they are very, very mild. But this is what I would use if you're starting to get patch. It's very common at this time of year as well, guys, because the car's been out in the sun. We're enjoying more of a finishing time, so we're using a lot of waxes and sealants, and maybe not as many abrasive or aggressive polishes. So that's why when I'm coming into the autumn time, this is when I'm starting to think about stripping off the old stuff, and Pure is very much a part of that regime. Now, what I would say is we're quite low on Pure at the moment. I've updated the website with the stock. We're lucky to have maybe 15 bottles of each, so half litres and 1 litres. So if it's something you want, just pop onto the website just now and organise that. So that's Kevin's order. Finished. As many of you know, we've been going for quite a long time, so there's not many countries that we haven't shipped from. This is the thing with the YouTube. I caught the YouTube live, guys, the comments come and go really quickly. So I saw Martin OCD Endurance, and you tried it and it was very glossy. So thanks very much for that. It's it's a fantastic product. So many of you know we used to have quite a few spray sealants on offer, and I decided to reduce the range of the sealant simply because endurance was so good. It was kind of like, all the other sealants, spray sealants that we had at the time, aside from really Glace, they were all competing for a very similar thing, but endurance was just leagues ahead. You probably remember when you were at school, and you might have been that pupil, always a couple of guys or girls in the school that were just, they just seemed to be that further ahead with their math, their physics, their science, whatever it would be. Endurance is that, it was they had the ducks of the school, they had the full colours on the blazer type thing. So endurance is really good. The other way that you can use endurance, I don't think I've covered this in a video yet. So there are two ways, and there's certainly one of them's much easier. So you can spray it onto the paintwork and buff it off to a high shine. So you don't need to let it sit or cure or anything. Just buff it off, and it will get to a point where it will buff clear. Now, the other way that I've started to use it myself is obviously give the bottle a good shake, because it's an emulsion, so it will separate in the bottle. So give it a good shake. Then get any sort of microfiber or foam applicator will do. This is just one that's handy. Spray it onto the pad a few times, 2 or 3 times, and then apply it onto the paint. Night and day. Absolutely incredible. I think it's more glossy if you do it this way, simply because when you spray it on and buff it off, the product isn't getting so much panel time, so to speak. It doesn't sit in the panel for as long. Whereas if you spread it on, then let it sit for 2 to 3 minutes is enough. Even cold temperatures, that's the beauty of oil-based products. Cold temperatures don't affect them. Water-based products are absolutely horrific to deal with in the winter, because all they want to do is freeze. So, and those of you that are north of the border or in, colder climates in the States, Canada, and North America, wherever you might be, that's why I would always try and guide you towards the oil-based stuff for the winter, because it will be much more tolerant of the temperatures. And even actually, so John, right, great stuff, John. So there we go. John has chimed in there as well with his experience with the microfiber. So that's a wee job for the weekend if you can be bothered. Get your endurance, apply it. You could do this with a microfiber cloth. There is no difference aside from you've got a sponge in here. So you could just fold your microfiber clothlets. You can use a work cloth. These are good enough for paint. That's what I was doing there, guys. I'll just talk you through. These have sewn edges. So do you see this? These are sewn on the edge. So all I'm doing is I'm keeping the sewn edge. So you can see every edge that I've got here that's going to touch the paint is folded over. And then we're just going to apply it that way. So just spray it on and then wipe it over the body. I would work a few panels at a time. Don't do the whole car, because in terms of application and the weather, that inclement weather that we're approaching, it's better just to do a panel at a time. So this one here going to the Netherlands. We've got a few going to Europe. Croatia, that's Central Europe, or as I said the other day, it's all changed since I was at school. We're all different these days. So Croatia, got quite a lot of customers there as well. Netherlands as well. You can always tell the real car communities. It's the same, very similar countries coming through time and time again. Right, so Tom has went for Cleanse. This is, without a doubt, guys, the best leather cleaner that I have ever used. The other thing it's in heavy duty bottle as well, so straight away you know it means business. Oops, sellotape's weren't involved. Very simple to use. If your leather is older or you think it's going to be sensitive just by maybe there's already some damage on the leather and it's been repaired, dilute this product down. It is an alkaline based cleaner, but it's specifically for leather in terms of the sort of, it goes back to this old saddle soap type of stuff. So specifically for leather, it's not, you know, I would absolutely urge you never use all-purpose cleaner on your leather, because if accidentally you will leave the, and it's, you know, especially with black leather, if you leave that on the leather for too long, it will stain the leather and it will never come out unless you have recolor the leather. So I would just urge you always use the right stuff. So this here is absolutely fantastic. I've got black leather just now, but previously I had a lighter grey leather, which I thought was more of a cream when I bought it. And this is really commonplace. Lots of cars that I went to see, you know, sold by garages, they had said, we've cleaned the leather, blah, blah, blah. And there's not a chance it was cleaned with something. APC, the issue you've got with APC is it's a very sticky product. So if you clean your leather with it, it leaves this film on. And I don't see a lot of people taking a clean cloth, a damp cloth, and wiping that residue off. And that's what you've got to do. When you're cleaning your leather, you need to get rid of that residue. If you don't, soap is quite sticky stuff. So all it does is it'll get dirtier quicker than before. You know, it'll just attract the dirt because it's a stickier surface. So that's a wee trick there. Lots of you'll know this. It's just, I try and cover as many bases as I can when we're doing the videos, because we've got a lot of new customers, but then we've got a lot of customers that have been in and around detailing products for a long time. So just stop me if you don't need to know that. Next up, half a litre of snow. This is commonplace. We're changing season. You're starting to see the decontamination products coming out in full force. So I would say over the next couple of weeks, you'll start to see the aggressive, abrasive polishes coming out. You'll start to see stuff like this, alkaline-based cleaners, a lot more of them. The thing that I would recommend is change from a pH neutral shampoo to Chera. So I would use Chera during the winter season, simply because it's slightly stronger in its cleaning ability, but it's also got the protection in there as well. So it's you can never have enough protection on the paint, especially with the winters that we get now. They're much wetter and they can be much colder than before. So as promised, we are on to Branco, and you find this quite often. So shipping to Europe's about between 10 and 12 euros. It depends where you are. Croatia falls, they've got a slightly higher postal rate than Western Europe. So we basically go west, central, east, just because there is a difference. The only other country that's slightly more expensive can be Norway. Again, just I don't know. The courier companies have obviously had a chat about this, and I trust that they know what they're doing. So you'll see here 3 carpet stripes. Funnily enough, we do sell a lot of 2s. 3 is quite unusual, but it's probably just in there to cover the postage a wee bit as well. Make it worth his while, I suppose. So next up, we've got Robert, and he has opted for the Ultimate Winter Wax Protection Kit. So what I'm going to do is just bring his order up, because there are some cloths and whatnot in here. So you get some cloths and applicators with this kit. So I just want to make sure and I'll talk you through exactly what Bavaria is, how to use it, and why we separated it. Right, so it's pure. There we go, one that I made earlier. So Bavaria is a two-step sealant. You don't see these at all anymore. Two-step products, for the most part, will always be better than one-step, simply because you're not trading. There's not a trade-off. So if we mix the two of these together, you couldn't make a single-step product simply because it would harden in the bottle. So you've got your accelerator, and then you've got your standard sealant. Now, the reason that this is so good is just because of the amount of time that has been put into developing this product. It's not a ceramic product, so if you're not too keen on ceramic products, they can be very one-dimensional, great at protecting your paint. However, they just offer the same look. And the look has a very glass-like finish, which, if that's what you want, we sell ceramics as well, so fire in. However, most of our customers are after a gloss or a wet look finish. Now, Bavaria is the highest gloss sealant that I've ever seen, simply because of the ingredients that are in there. So when we were looking for something like this was the only product. A lot of one bottle, sort of single step products, loads of them. Tried them, absolutely great. Guard being one of them. Guard version 2, fantastic product. Slightly thinner than version 1, just to help with application. Longevity wise, you'll get about 3 to 4 months. Bavaria will give you about 5 to 6. This is used aviation, so it's used in the aviation industry. It's used in the marine industry as well. So it's used outside, and that to me is always an indication of how good the product is, because the aviation industry is heavily regulated. It's very difficult to get in the door there, unless, and we were fortunate enough, we got in the door through some sort of local flight clubs, and then it escalated from there in a good way. So, and it's something that I've always been keen on myself. Probably living in Glasgow, we've got quite a big airport, lots of planes coming and going. So, yeah, I need to sell a few more waxes to buy my first one. But yeah, flight, I suppose probably for most car enthusiasts, we love everything that's got an engine. If it's a train, a lorry, whatever it is, throw me something that's got an engine and I can spend all day with it. So, yeah. So, and we have over the years made, so my other big passion is fishing and boats. So again, we looked at better products for protecting, especially in salt water. So, and again, it breaks down to this alkaline product. So Carnauba wax is not too fond, and a lot of products, even some ceramics, are not fond of sea salt because of the alkalinity there. So we had came up with some products that you can use. Again, these are more leisure craft, because when you're talking about the commercial stuff, your big rigs, your oil container, or your shipment, like merchant navy type stuff, it's a whole another kettle of fish. Most of that stuff is painted, and it's got PTFE in there, it's got other coatings and things. So you're more looking at the leisure industry anyway. So what I would say is, if you've got a boat, for instance, glass fiber, gel coat, whatever, this is absolutely fine. In terms of the waxes, just give me a shout. I've got some stuff that I use myself. If you're on freshwater, you're absolutely fine. The Carnauba wax will be absolutely fine in freshwater. It's only if you're storing your boat in salt water, in the ocean, the open sea, or whatever, the high seas. So Bavaria, I like this product because it's a separate product. You've got step 1, which is very clearly written on the bottle, this one here. Then you've got step 2, and you just apply it like you would pure, Guard, Titan, whatever. No special tools needed, no special knowledge needed. Simply just spread it across the paint thinly. Works really well via dual action as well, or orbital polisher. Dual action will make light work of it. And then buff step 1 off, because obviously we're used with Araldite and acrylics. You're normally epoxy resins, you're normally mixing the two together. On this occasion, it's slightly different. You want to apply this, let it sit, buff it off so it'll go hazy. Buff off's really, really easy, just as easy as it applies. Then you want to add your step 2. So make sure that you've removed all of step 1. Then you add your step 2, which is your accelerant or your hardener. We just go simple with it on this type of stuff. So just your hardener. That'll harden the coat, and you've got, this is a real hybrid product. And the other reason I like this is just simply for the gloss. The level of gloss that this will give you is incredible. You'll see, I put it on years and years ago. It was very cold, because you'll see the video on the website. I applied this to a red Mercedes on a very cold winter's day, just to show you it's just as easy to use at that time of year. So I don't know, I missed that comment. I'll get any comments that I missed, guys. I'll get back to you once the video stops. I'll just have a look through. 3 complimentary microfibers. So 3 applicators. Don't mix and match, guys. Just use step 1, and even if you need to, use a black marker like this, just a permanent marker. Put 1, so that if you want to reuse it, you know what it is. And then 2 would be step 2. And then again, you don't want to cross-contaminate the Bavaria products, so keep them separate from your other stuff. That's why you also get the cloths as well. So you get a couple of cloths in there. So that's another one. So that's Robert. But there's another Bavaria as well. So this is a ½ litre. We need to pour that. Normally we do 150s and 1 litres. Well, we do ½ litres on the website as well. It just seems to be the ½ litres were very popular. The 150ml will give you 3 to 4 coats on a car. You can, if you want, double up, but you need to do step 1, step 2, wait about 24 hours, then another step 1 and step 2. So you can double up, but you need to do it. You can't do like 2 step 1s and 2 step 2s. You need to do them separately, and they will layer. That's the good thing with this product, is it will actually layer. You won't get 100% layer though, because it just abrasively. To remove it is quite simple. You can either polish it off with an abrasive polish, or you can just wait a couple of months and just you could probably use something like Pure after that time period. If it's straight away, for whatever reason, you need to use an aggressive polish, because because it's quite tough stuff. It's not ceramic, and again, that's the reason that I really like it. I'm not a massive fan of ceramic coatings, just simply because I don't like the look of them. I think within Michelin King, we're very spoiled with the variety of finishes that we can provide with car waxes. And ceramic coatings, to me, they're very one-dimensional, very much needed. You know, we do sell quite a lot of ceramic coatings. But in terms of your looks, you can obviously top a ceramic coating with a wax as well if you want. It just as you'll probably understand, within Michelin King, the car wax, most of our customers come here for the car wax and the Pure and a couple of other products that are quite popular on the liquid side. The ceramics typically when we sell ceramic coatings, they're normally sold with our ceramic shampoo, and also what happened with Cloak. So Cloak was a really nice product, but you will get a very similar result from just using Pure alone. And one of the things that I felt when we moved factory is it let me really, probably because we've been doing this for a long time now, it let me reassess the liquids that we offer and just streamline things a bit. Cloak was one of these awkward products that kind of didn't know its place because things have changed so much. So historically, glaze style products could either be used in their own for a really short term gloss boost, or they could be used to slightly hide imperfections. Now, Pure does that really well. I think it probably does it better than Cloak. So that was a decision when we moved and we're making up all the shelves. And I thought, I think there's a couple of products here that are out of place within our company. Absolutely fine for the others, but I think they're out of place for us. And the sales showed it. I always look at the numbers. That's probably the engineering background. Numbers since I've been a kid, so it's always been numbers. I just looked at the sales and thought, Cloak's way behind, Seal's way behind, and Rinse is way behind. Um, Seal isn't as glossy as Endurance. Cloak isn't quite as good as Pure. If you're using Cloak, the other thing that we came up against with Cloak is the longevity of Cloak was less than the majority of the waxes that we used. So if you applied Cloak under the wax, you actually lost some durability of the wax. So it was a negative. I suppose kind of like if you go into your Chevy dealership and you think you're getting the saddle, or what was it, the Ford F-150. Loved that because they had this like the proper saddle leather. That's a brown saddle leather. It's kind of like that. You go in expecting the saddle leather and it turns out to be vinyl. That was where I kind of came to a head with Cloak one day because I applied it to my own car, topped it with a wax, and stood back and just thought, this is actually detracting from the look of the paint because A, we're losing some durability here. So the car won't look as good for as long as it should with the wax, the quality of wax that we're using. And B, there was also this change of thought of, will this Cloak go on after, before? There was some confusion there, and I thought, I think this is a problematic product. We had to snip it out the range. It's something we still can obviously get the stock. So it is something I can still supply if you want. But I would say if you're using a glaze, I would just use Pure. And there's one very specific reason for that. Pure takes the same amount of time to apply as Cloak, but Pure will also give your paint a deep clean. Now, there isn't anything that you would apply Cloak on top of. So, for instance, you would typically go, Cloak would be after your sealant, or it could go before you. And this is the thing, this is the confusion, because Cloak doesn't last as long. So it should be one of the last products that goes onto your paint. Whereas the structured way to do this, in my opinion, the proper way of doing this is you get your paint cleaner, you get your sealant, then you put your wax. Because you're starting with longest lasting product to typically your least durable. Now, obviously, there are some products like Fortitude that will outlast Titan. Quite a lot of our waxes will actually outlast Titan. But the mix came in when Cloak, because Cloak really wasn't durable. It's a glaze. Most true glazes aren't. The benefit of Cloak is obviously it was not abrasive at all. The downside of Cloak was all of the aforementioned issues that it had. It had more issues than Vogue. So that's why I would always say to people, anyone that likes Cloak, I would say, well, just replace Cloak with Pure, and you'll also have cleaner paint throughout the year, because the Pure is always, when you apply it, it cleans the paint. If you apply Cloak, it's not really cleaning the paint to the same extent. So you've got this build up that Cloak's kind of harbouring, so to speak, or defending. So yeah, that was why, and obviously Seal has now went as well, just simply because endurance is more glossy, it lasts longer, and if you need something that's water soluble, then Glace is a nicer product. It's a better product. And again, it just kind of harps back to the fact, because we make the waxes in house, but we don't make the liquids, so we can really pick and choose. We can pick and choose the best liquids, because we don't. Yeah, we need to sell a shampoo, we need to sell a quick detailer, but the rest of the liquids are not really a full requirement. They're just there to complete the range. So that's why we can choose to be quite picky, and the result is you get the best. In my opinion, you buy Cleanse, you're getting the best leather cleaner. You buy the tire dressing that we've got, you're getting the best oil-based tire dressing there is. Quick Detailer as a straightforward quick detailer. Now, bear in mind, I'm well aware there is a quick detailer on the market that offers really good protection. It's not a like for like. If you put that product up against Wax Plus, it won't survive. Wax Plus will absolutely pummel it. It's a far superior product. Quick Detailer is exactly that. It's just a product to quickly detail the car, just to bring it back. There is some protection in there, but that's not what it's for. It's not a protective spray. It's just to get rid of things like fingerprints and pollen, and just bring a bit of a nicer finish to the paint. If you're looking for something that will protect the paint, then Wax Plus is the one. That will give you 6 months. Very, very tough. It's like all the militaries came together and said, we want to make one of the toughest spray sealants, and they came up with Wax Plus, because it's a very, very good product. And it is well placed price wise as well. Just again, because of the volume that we sell, we're able to offer it at that price. So that's us for now. I just picked out a handful, guys. Being a Friday afternoon, I know I don't want to bombard you with orders that have come in. So there is 35% off the website right now. I have updated most of the liquids on the website in terms of, I'll give you a heads up. So Glace, we're very low in stock of the 500 mils. Nourish, again, we're very low in stock of the 500s. So for both Glace and Nourish, there are a handful of 1 litres. Endurance, again, very low on that. Just end of the week stuff. There will be more coming in, but it won't be till probably the tail end of next week, maybe around about that time. Thread, we've got enough of that. Tire, I think we're maybe lucky if we've got 8 or 9 bottles left on the shelf. Again, these are sort of fully stocked constantly, but just with the bank holiday sale and things like that. The bank holiday, we had the Friday and the Monday off and whatnot, so we've not been pouring as much during this week. It's been a 4-day week, which was quite nice. And then Titan as well is quite low. Quick Detailer, again, that's becoming quite low as well. So just, yeah, with the 35% sale, as you know, guys, the stuff really flies off. In terms of waxes, I don't think we've covered I know we've not covered the new waxes on, sorry. We've not covered the new waxes on the live video, so I'm just going to pick some off the shelf. So this is the new jar for Azure for the moment. We've only got 6 of these remaining. They were limited run of 10, and then Alpine was the same, limited run of 10. So I think what I'm seeing here is people are just slightly holding off. They don't want it to be winter just yet. So slightly holding off in some of the winter-based waxes, But what I would say, guys, is once, I don't know how these things work. It's as if someone flicks a switch and suddenly all your winter stuff starts to go. But I would urge you to plan ahead, because we won't be making these again in these jars. So if you want something that's a wee bit special, go for that. This is quite cool. This will cheer you up on a gloomy day. This is a zingy green. So this is Trossachs. Trossachs is a very wet looking wax. So if you like a wet look wax, then Trossachs is the one for you. You're looking for something a wee bit more luxurious, then go to lavender, and then the level above that would be Philip. And then you're probably looking at Serpine, and the outstanding one is Samaya. That is a wax. Considering it's at the very top of the range, Samaya is just about sold out for this year. So that's incredible. That's went very, very quickly this year. So thank you. But again, it's the quality of ingredients that they're absolutely unrivaled anywhere. And that's not a thing that I'm doing on purpose. I'm not, out to seek that. What my train of thought with the luxury wax is, what I think about when I'm making a luxury wax is, what's the best we can make this? So it's that's the train of thought. So I go and look for the rarest or the best quality set of ingredients that I can get, and it's mostly with Samaya. Funnily enough, it's stuff that I've never used before, but it was just with some of the suppliers, they know that we're a bit quirky with our waxes and the ingredients. So they will phone, they'll maybe go on a trip to South America would be a good example. Come back and you'll get a phone call and they say, listen, John, we've found this farmer over here. He doesn't mass produce. It's a very small outfit at the moment. They will move to expand his land and things like that. But at the moment, it's a very small outfit, and this is what he makes, and I think this would interest you. So that's kind of how we find our stuff. It's not so much, through that. It's, you just get used to what you want. It's kind of like, I guess, if you go to a vineyard, they know they need a certain type of soil for a certain type of grape that will succeed in that area, that will taste the best. And so non-vintage champagne, they bring a host of different grapes together, and they try and kind of match the year before as best as they can. Now, our luxury waxes are more like your vintage stuff, where every single one's different, simply because I think that's better. I don't want to make the same wax over and over again, because A, I think I would go mad, but B, it's not good for you. You're buying the same wax time and time again. What are you going to do with 20 waxes that are the same? So what I would say, at the moment on the website, every single wax that we've got on the website is completely different. I'm just looking to make sure that's right, because we do release, so there are some petrochemical waxes, like our special edition. There's like a gold label one. We do some fruity stuff. They've got more similar ingredients, because it's more just about the fun of the fragrance, and they're priced at a point where, about £20. They're priced at a point where, if you collect 3 or 4 of them, they've all got different fragrances, and they will be slightly different because you're making them at different times mostly. But the likes of Prototype and RPM, they are different. The likes of Gold Label and a couple of the fruity ones, they're more similar. They share ingredients that are more similar. But your likes of Philip, I'm looking at 2 here. So let's take Philip, for instance, and then we'll take Montgomery. And these are very different waxes, completely different in terms of the ingredients. They'll share the same core waxes, so they both have carnauba in them. They both have, I don't actually think they do have beeswax in there, funnily enough. But they'll share some other waxes, but they won't share the majority of the oils. Some of the carrier will be similar, but you'll see we really step away from the petrochemical stuff at that level. Again, just because it gives you better wax. Because what our customer base, and I think if you're watching this video, what you want as well is you want the best wax, and petrochemical waxes, hands down, don't make the best wax because they take up too much space in your recipe. The petrochemicals overbearing. So it's kind of like you're sitting at a dinner table with a guy that's wearing, let's say, oud, and he's sprayed too much. He's put like 10 sprays around his neck and he's killing the restaurant. I think the young people call it vibe. He's killing the vibe. It's the same stuff with Kerel. It's just this, there's a line that has to be drawn, and certainly a price point as well. So the carrier that we typically use at the moment sits anything between 15 to 20% of the price of the petrochemical. So it's a far superior product. You've even got quality differences. Petrol, you go to the petrol station, you've got different qualities, higher octane, lower octane. Petrol stations have done really well on that marketing stunt. But in terms of your waxes, if you are solely, we get a lot of emails every week to say, look, I've tried X, Y, and Z, I've got your RPM, I just want the best wax. What's the best wax that you do? A couple of questions I'll ask. It is colour dependent. There is certain, because you're dealing with light, that's this sort of notion that colour's not important is very important. It's one of the centre points of light interference and interaction. That's why we live life on the colour spectrum. Colour is an infinite part of our everyday life. So yes, colour and wax and colour and protective is very they're intrinsically knitted together. This is more than anything science. And until someone, that's the beauty of physics, until someone disproves it. So this is the theory that we're going with, is a theory that's currently resonating. But someone will come out the woodwork at some point, I'm sure, and change all that. But at the moment, yes, I would ask colour, usage, how many times a week you use the car, is it a daily driver, blah blah blah. Because if I say, well, Samaya's the best wax that we use, however, the best wax that we offer, however, Samaya typically, there's some colours that it really suits better than others. Lily would look far better on a yellow car than Samaya would, simply because Lily's higher gloss. Samaya and Lily work cloths, I think they're sold out, David. They sell out like that. I think because we do the videos, they sell out so quickly. We had 144 went out the door yesterday, so yeah, they'll be back in stock, and we'll put the newsletter out, so just keep an eye out for that. If you've got the other one, I would look at would be if you've got a really nice pearl paint. So if you've got something like McLaren do this, TVR were one of the first, I think, as far as I'm aware. Quite a lot of car companies now. Alfa Romeo have got a sort of white pearl. Jag have got one, I think, on their their XK. Anyway, got a pearl, I would go for Serpine, because Serpine looks really good with the pearl paint. Also, if you've got a very interesting metallic paint, so if you've got something like Estoril Blue from BMW, I would probably go Samaya, because Samaya, or there's a really nice Santorini Black that Land Rover do. I presume Jaguar will share the same paint, maybe not the same code, but the same paint. Again, Samaya would be good for that. So, and you can see there, screen rate. These waxes are at different levels, so it's not about me selling you the most expensive wax, because if the customer says, look, I want a really glossy wax, but I want it to last, then Montgomery is the first choice, or Fortitude, then Montgomery. If you want to stretch the budget, Montgomery. You want to keep it a wee bit more budget friendly, then go for Fortitude, because Lily and Samaya and whatever they will last 3 to 4 months, but Montgomery steps that up. You're getting about 4 to 6 with Montgomery. So again, it's just all good salespeople have to ask questions before they present you with the product. It's about matching the customer to the wax. It's not about, everyone should have Samaya, because it doesn't work. That train of thought doesn't work. It's like, you give everyone a Rolls Royce. Yeah, I'm sure they're going to like it, but if you're a farmer and you live off a dirt track road, that Rolls Royce is going to be sitting in the field for 8 months out the year. So it's very much giving people exactly what they want, and it's something that I really try and encourage so that you do get the right wax. We sometimes do it. Say if someone buys a 4 wax kit. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll actually change the waxes out because they've already spoken to me, and I'll say, look, that wax, let's say for instance they've got a black car but they've not put Mason in, but they've put just trying to think of one that's roughly about the same. They've put Octane in, and I would say I think Mason's actually better because Mason was specifically made for a Bentley. They have a paint called Mason Black, and it's far more glossy than Octane is. Octane is a daily driver. It was made for, some of you will know this, Octane magazine back in the day. So, right, that's us for now. 35% off. If you need a hand picking the wax, just give me a shout, leave a comment or whatever. I'll go back through the comments, guys, because I've missed some of them. They come and go really quickly, and I'm not quite as fast on my feet as I used to be 20 years ago. Right, take care. Bye bye.